not enough goals and too many goals going the other way.
Andrew, I look at this roster and how it's constructed, and increasingly in today's NHL, you really have your haves and have-nots. It's kind of how it is. Every team has, 3 or 4 guys on pretty big contracts that eat up a lot of cap, somewhere between probably $8 and $10 million bucks. And then you got to filter in your entry-level deals to suck up the bottom barrel part of this. But the Islanders really aren't like that. They don't have many young players to speak of. They've got a ton of contracts that are $4 and $5 million that, frankly, for me, they're bloated contracts for who the players are, and I love some of these guys. JG Padro, I would want him on my team all day long for $3.5 million, maybe $4, right? But he's got $5 for the next 3 years after this. First off, do you see Lou Lamoriello really shaking up the core? And I'm talking about a Beauvillier or even Bailey or Pajot. You take your pick of these players. Do you see him moving on from anybody? And if he does, how does he make it happen? Because these contracts, to me, they're bloated. I think you keep Lee, you keep Nelson, but beyond that, I'm not sure that anybody should be untouchable there in Long Island.
No, if you were asking me to come up with an untouchable list for this franchise, it would probably have 3 players on it, and that's Barzal, Ilya Sorokin, and Noah Dobson. And beyond that, I mean, even
and I would agree with you.
Me too.
As well as Brock Nelson's played, as an important a part as JG Pajot is. Even on defense, those guys are getting a little bit older, and like you said, they're on some, they got some expensive deals back there. You're going to have to do something to shake this up.
The PGA Tour comes to life on SiriusXM. It's your destination for everything on the tour. Hear live hole-by-hole coverage and expert analysis. PGA Tour Radio, SiriusXM 92.
Hi folks, Terry Mercury here with your look at the SiriusXM NHL broadcast schedule across the network for the first day of the brand new month, Wednesday, February the 1st. All times are Eastern. It's a 2-game night of action with both contests beginning at 7:30. The game of the night looks to be in Toronto, where the Maple Leafs get a visit from the Boston Bruins. The Maple Leafs call is on SiriusXM 91 and Internet 947. The Bruins broadcast is on Internet 922. This is a contest between 2 of the Eastern Conference heavyweights. The Bruins currently sit comfortably atop the conference, 9 points up on the second-place Carolina Hurricanes and 11 ahead of Toronto. That being said, they come into this contest looking to bounce back from a stinging 4-1 defeat at the hands of Carolina on Sunday. Despite being one of the best road teams in the league, the Bruins will have their hands full with a Maple Leafs team that's simply been almost unbeatable at the Scotiabank Arena. The Blue and White are 24-4 at home and got a decisive 5-1 win over Washington on Sunday, but they are missing top scorer Austin Matthews, who remains out with a lower body injury. The other game on the night should be pretty competitive as well, as the Buffalo Sabres welcome the Carolina Hurricanes to the KeyBank Center. The Sabres play-by-play shows up on Sirius 216, XM 219, and Internet 923. The Hurricanes action is on Internet 925. As mentioned, the Canes are in second place in the Eastern Conference and are looking to stay ahead of third place Toronto. Meanwhile, heading into the All-Star weekend, the Sabres are a point back of the Pittsburgh Penguins for the final playoff spot in the East. The Sabres haven't played since Saturday when they lost to Minnesota 3-2 in a shootout, while the Hurricanes are looking for their 6th straight win after Sunday's win over Boston. That's your SiriusXM NHL broadcast schedule for Wednesday, February the 1st. Remember, to get up to date on any possible game time or channel changes, log on to SiriusXM.com/program schedule. For SiriusXM Sports, I'm Terry Mercury.
SiriusXM has soccer covered end to end. SiriusXM FC. Hear live play-by-play and talk shows hosted by legends of the game. It's SiriusXM FC on Channel 157.
Nashville Predators television play-by-play guy Willie Downich joins guest host Dave McCarthy and regular co-host Shane O'Brien on the Power Play on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 91. And the first question he's asked is fairly predictable.
What do the Preds have to do to pull themselves back into the race here in the second half?
Well, I think it starts with their best players. I think if you go down the list of, the way the team's constructed, who has to play well? UC Saros has had a great year. Roman Josi has had a very good year. It's hard to top what he did last year. But then, this is the semester break coming up. This is their last game before their bye week. I think you got some guys whose grades are a little bit lower. Matthew Shane, Mikhail Granlund, Ryan Johansson, Philip Forsberg. I mean, those guys have to carry the load. And I think if all of them were talking to you, I don't think any of them would be saying they're quite where they can be. And I think if they play better, I think that could be the difference in getting back to the playoffs or not getting back to the playoffs. And this was a great test tonight. They had a big meeting after they had a very poor performance in St. Louis last Thursday. And it was one of those meetings, and Shane, you know how it is. Sometimes you have meetings, and it's not really that meaningful. You have a little bit of lip service, but by all accounts, this was an impactful meeting. And since then, they played 2 very good games. And those guys that I mentioned, both have been really good games for those guys. Those guys have really set the tone, and you can see the difference on the ice.
Yeah, Willie, first of all, love Trotzy. Love that he's back in Nashville, one of my favorite men in the world. So when I look at this Nashville Predators team, Willie, like sometimes when you bring new pieces in and big free agents, you have a tough start. Like I realize they went to Europe, but with the foundation that they've always had, what was the problem at the start of the year, I guess is my question.
Yeah, the Europe trip, I don't think anybody would ever give that back. It was really special, lifelong memories. I was fortunate enough to be able to go on the trip. First to Bern, Switzerland, where Roman Josi is from. That's his hometown. And then, of course, you got Nino Niederreiter, who's from right down the road. That was awesome. And then they played the 2 games in Prague. Just an incredible city. 2 wins against the Sharks. Everything looked great. But I will say it. I don't want to make excuses for them, but they came back and they just got out of sorts. They got back and they had 2 games against Dallas where they got blown right out of the water. And that seemed to shake them a little bit. And the next thing you know, they're 5-8-1, and they're still trying to dig out of that hole. They've been much better since then. They were 5-8-1. They're 18-10-5 since then. But I think that if you want to dig a little deeper, I do think it took a little time for Ryan McDonagh to find his niche. Now he's playing alongside Roman Josi, both left-hand defensemen, but they've been a very, very good pair. Ryan McDonagh was kind of passed around to some different partners early. And I think it was a little bit of a struggle for him. But now I think he's really found his stuff. And he's a very special player, and he's helping them a lot. So I think it was a little bit of a lot of different things, but I think it always reverts back to the same thing. I mean, year in and year out, if you get good seasons from your top players, it's going to make the difference. And some of them did get off to a little bit of a slow start.
College sports lives on ESPNU with the live play-by-play. Get all the latest news and analysis from college football to basketball and everything in between on ESPNU, Sirius XM 84.
Hi, folks. Terry Mercury here.
You're listening to NHL Play-by-Play on Sirius XM. For even more coverage of your team. The Buffalo Sabres are on the air.
Power slides one in, shoots and scores! Anderson makes the save. What a huge stop. But it's Peterka who comes back for Buffalo. Lays it to the wing. Cousins, Peterka scores! Tage Thompson. And we're tied at 3. In front, Dolly scores! That was magic.
Every goal, every save, every play, every hit. Hear it happen here. The radio home of the Buffalo Sabres. It's game time and time to play some hockey on the Buffalo Sabres Radio Network.
Well, good evening, everybody. Just after 7:30, we welcome you to KeyBank Center for the Sabres and the Carolina Hurricanes. Buffalo coming off of an outstanding road trip, picking up 7 out of 8 points, a 3-0-1 record, looking to keep the good times going here tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes. If Buffalo gets a win, they will be in the second wild card position in the Eastern Conference standings. Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray are standing by. They'll have the play-by-play coming up in just a matter of moments right here on the Buffalo Sabres Radio Network. Welcome to the Press Box, everyone. I'm Brian Coleshiel. Thanks for joining us. We want to welcome in all of our local affiliates to the program as well here. Sabres and Hurricanes going at it. Buffalo's opponent tonight, very good. Number 1 in the Metro, 8-1-1 in their last 10. The Hurricanes playing back-to-back after a comeback OT win over the Kings last night. The Sabres shoot out losers in Minnesota Saturday, but as we said, a win puts them into the second wild-card spot tonight. When we come back, we'll get to the national anthems and then hand things off to Dan and Rob. Game night opening face-off is coming up next. It's brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door, over-delivering all over Western New York. This is the Buffalo Sabres Radio Network.
Guys, fellas, men, are you ready? I mean Roman ready for Valentine's Day? Some say it's the sexiest day of the year. Flowers, chocolates, candlelit dinners. That's all great. But I think we all want something a little more physical, too. Because a strong sex life can deepen your feelings of intimacy with your partner and lead to increased happiness. So if you're prepping for Valentine's Day, right now is the perfect time to check out Roman. Roman has genuine medication that helps you achieve and maintain a strong erection. Roman has discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed. Roman has testosterone testing and treatment. Treating low testosterone can help revive your sex drive. And better yet, with Roman, everything is online. There are no waiting rooms and no hassle. Roman sends everything right to your door with free shipping and in discreet packaging. So men, for better sex this Valentine's Day, go to ro.co/VDay. Do it today and get 20% off. That's ro.co/VDay.
Have you seen our red trucks in your neighborhood? Hi, it's Jen Kuhn from Hamburg Overhead Door. Our red trucks stand out by design because we want to make sure you recognize the premier garage door company in Western New York. Call Hamburg Overhead Door at 649-3600, come into our showroom, or go directly to hamburgdoor.com for an outstanding experience. And the next time you see our red trucks, you'll know the real reason they stand out. Because we over-deliver for you.
Freed Maxick is one of the largest locally owned public accounting firms in the Western New York region and a top 100 CPA firm in the nation. With local knowledge and national acumen, Freed Maxick helped Common Bond, a local real estate developer, navigate the intricacies of development capital. With Freed Maxick, they found a strong partner to navigate tax credit development so they could focus on making the development a success. To learn more about how they went from idea to investment, visit freedmaxick.com. Go with Freed Maxick.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
It looks like your luggage is over 50 pounds. Is there anything you can take out?
Oh, yeah. Let me just toss all these $20 bills.
Great. Let me grab you a trash can.
Stop. Instead of throwing money away, move some clothes into a carry-on. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
You're listening to the Buffalo Sabres Radio Network.
We're at KeyBank Center. Brian Koziel with you. It is the beginning of February, and it is Choose Love Night. Let's pick up the public address. Jay Moran, as the Sabres choose to celebrate tonight.
Since the puck drop to open this season, the Sabres have proudly worn the phrase, Choose Love, on our helmets as a show of support for our neighbors in East Buffalo. Tonight, to kick off Black History Month, we launch our inaugural Choose Love Night, held in recognition of the black community in Western New York. To begin our celebration, Buffalo's first poet laureate, Jillian Hainsworth, reflects on the city's resilience, diversity, and strength with her poem, Still Choosing Love.
We're still choosing love, right? We still have each other's backs. Because life has tested our resolve, but we can choose to stay on track. We can root ourselves in respect and make space for one another. Because this is Buffalo, New York, the city where we take care of each other. We grow roses out of concrete here. We welcome a little rain. We're not prisoners of fear. Instead, we're champions for change. We choose to celebrate our differences. That's what makes our home unique. We'll take food from our own freezers to ensure our neighbors eat. And I know that it gets tough. I'm sorry we learned of our strength this way. I'm sorry our resilience keeps getting tested and at times we don't see the light of day. But we have dusted each other off. And we've adjusted each other's crowns. We have dried our neighbors' tears and lifted each other up from off the ground. We are a city that can't lose, no matter what the scoreboard reads. Because people who love each other for real are people who don't know defeat. So let's go, Buffalo. Let's make this a commitment for forever. Let's see how far we can actually go when we're willing to go together. Let's take it all personal. My neighbor's issues are mine as well. And together we'll model for the world the difference we can make when we choose to let love prevail.
And the crowd standing now and applauding that video that's being played, and we'll continue the public address now.
Positive change in our community while making hockey more inclusive and welcoming for all. To continue our celebration, please rise if you are able and welcome the Elim Christian Fellowship Choir for the singing of the Canadian and U.S. national anthems.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, that is the Elim Christian Fellowship Choir here on Choose Love Night. Nice job with the Canadian and American anthems. Tonight's Buffalo Sabres home game proudly presented by Howard Hanna Real Estate Services. Home happens here. Sabres in their retro all-white uniforms, blue numbers, gold trim. The Hurricanes in their solid blacks from top to bottoms, white numbers and red trim. And that'll put a wrap here on our pregame show. I'll be with you throughout the night on the intermissions. Paul Hamilton, Pat Malacaro as well. For now, though, we're ready for puck drop. Brian Coleshill going to send things next door. Here is Dan Dunleavy along with Rob Ray, the Sabres and the Canes. Gentlemen.
Crowd for one more before the break, and they want to make the most of this tonight, and this perhaps will be the ultimate of tests going against the Carolina team that rallied in their last game at home against the Kings. They looked like they might have been down and out 4-1 to start the third, but they come back and win it in overtime. Sabres, of course, on a nice little run of points in consecutive games here. So away we go, Buffalo and the Whites, and from left to right to get it started. And interesting to see the line matchups to get it going here. Stahl, Fast, and Martinook out against the Krebs, Girgensons, and Catapozzo line as the puck is slipped down to the Carolina zone, picked up by Chetfield, and he'll bank it off the boards. And now Stahl picks it up. inside the Buffalo zone right side. Down to the corner, Foss trying to pick it up. Martinook will whip that one just by the knee of the referee over on the far boards. Off the glass, puck stays in play. And a nice patient play there by the Sabres' Rasmus Dahlin. And he sends Krebs away in a 2-on-1. Pass across. Kyle Poso couldn't quite get it to the net. Now he does. And Antti Raanta is just going to hold it there at the far post.
Yeah, nice job there on the rushes. Everybody kind of coming down on a 2-on-1. Kyle Poso driving through to the net. Krebs going to make a nice little pass across to him. And it's just kind of tough to handle right at the last second. The Sabres in no trouble in their own zone. They were able to clean it up really well and then execute coming down the ice. And Krebs, that puck was just in Kyle Poso's feet, not able to get the shot off as clean as he'd want to, and Raanta makes the save.
So the Sabres will get the Tage Thompson group out here right now against Necas Kotkaniemi and Andrei Svechnikov. And Carolina off the face-off of their own zone will flip this one up to center ice. It's picked up by Svechnikov. He'll lay it off. Necas quick shot, stopped by Lukin, and rebound is there and picked up by Thompson. And that's what the Sabres will need a lot of tonight against this Carolina team that will just not stop the motor running.
Yeah, very good forecheck, Dan. They're going to be relentless. They're going to be on top of you all the time. So that first pass has got to be good.
Alex Tuck with a backhand coming down the left side. That goes just wide of Raanta, and it's picked up and brought up ice by Kotkaniemi. He'll carry it across the line, and a shot stopped by Luukkonen, and here comes the call against
Thompson's going to get a hooking call here. Carolina's going to go to the power play here in the first minute and a half of this hockey game, and that's not really what Don Granato would be looking for right now.
Buffalo penalty number 72 has 2 minutes for hooking.
And Tage Thompson just coming back into his own zone, and he comes in from behind, but he reaches out and lifts a stick right there. Gets a stick up around the hands area. The Carolina Hurricanes, they are 4 for their last 31 on the power play. Sabres, they've killed off 20 of the last 25.
Quick shot right off the draw from the far circle by Necas is stopped by Luukkonen over at that far post. And he'll hold on to that. Carolina, when they are on this power play, they do not take long to strike. They don't waste time, Rob. When they get the puck, they fire it.
Yeah, they do, and especially from the points, you're going to see a lot of shots coming through. There's going to be guys converging to the net, and they don't look for that perfect opportunity all the time. They like to take the shot and loosen you up.
There's Shea from the blue line trying to feed that one through. That is stopped before it got anywhere, and now it's clear down the ice. Good to see Dylan Cousins back in the lineup. He's got the puck ahead of Brady Shea down to the corner of the Carolina zone, off to the right of the goal. Canes are going to curl back as Aho will play it across in front of the net. Aho with 4 power play goals on the year takes the pass right side of center, gains the Buffalo line. Over on this near side, this is Teravainen. He'll play it below the goal line. Back up top for Shea, quarterbacking top of the house. Teravainen back to him again, shot stopped. And Aho on the rebound far boards, feeding it inside. Svechnikov sends it to the near circle. Teravainen gets it back again. Carolina whipping this thing around. They've still got a minute to go on this man advantage. Teravainen from the near corner, left wing side of the Buffalo zone, has it at the hash marks. Little bumping back, feeds it inside. Svechnikov can't get the shot away. Far post tap in. What a pass! And Aho gets the goal to open the scoring on the power play for Carolina.
Yeah, Aho's going to collect his 23rd on the season, 5th on the power play here. And they just do a nice job coming up with pucks, and they're showing an awful lot of patience here. And they're just waiting for the Sabres. They kind of drew him down in tight. They go to the bump guy in the middle. And just at the last second, that's Samuelson over on the far post right there. Just not able to find Aho coming in from the backside. And he just redirects it past Luukkonen at the far post.
Aho came in with a goal in 5 straight, so that continues to grow, that stat. And the Sabres find themselves trailing by a score of 1-0. Aho entered the game on the 5-gamer, tied with Zach Hyman for the NHL's longest active run.
Now, when you talk about the Carolina Hurricanes, you're going to talk about a work ethic. Coach Brad Brindamore is going to bring that. He demands it. And if you don't bring it, you don't play. And that's the message he's got across to this group early when he first came in here and took over. So you're going to see these guys. They're going to come out and say they play the same game from start to finish here. And it's very aggressive. They're in your face. They're on top of you. And anything you're going to get here tonight, you're going to have to earn.
They're at it again. Nason, Stastny, and Stepan creating the turnover in the Buffalo zone. Now it's Victor Olofsson who plays it to center. Sabres bringing speed into the zone now as Rasmus Dahlin fires it around to the near corner. Overskated by Middlestat, but followed up on the play by Bryson. Here's Olofsson with a shot. Ratta with a glove save. He wasn't sure where it was. Puck comes back out to the Sabres off the right boards. Olofsson. Stastny gets in his grill, but the puck is played to the wall, and Middlestat fed it through the middle. Rasmus Dahlin gets a piece of it and chips it to the far corner. Middlestat. Near corner. In front. Krebs with a shot, and that one is blocked. Dahlin fakes the shot. He'll carry it back to the point. Holds the line with it. Dahlin whips that one on net from well out, and Ratta with nobody in front, easily making the stop.
Yeah, Dahlin makes a nice move at the blue line, just trying to open things up here, but the problem was two wingers for the Sabres didn't converge to the net. When you see Dahlin coming across that blue line, you know there's a very good chance that shot's going to come, so you got to get somebody to the front of the net. They got pushed out to the side way too easy here. Carolina did an excellent job just boxing everybody out, not allowing, but Middlestat, by the time he got there, not enough time. And Rant is able to see that one come through too clean. You got to, when it comes to Dahlin at the point, you know the shot's going to be coming through. He's been doing it a lot lately, not looking for that perfect play all the time, so you got to be ready for that.
Carolina won the draw in their own zone, and as soon as they win the draw, they've got two forwards busting up ice. Sabres, if they can create turnovers, might get more chances like this on the counter. Puck rolls to the side of the net, but I noticed that, Rob, right off the draw, as soon as Carolina wins, two are just busting right out of the zone.
Yeah, they're coming hard, and the big thing is, you know what, Carolina played last night. Overtime game, big emotional game for them. They may have the energy here, but you've got to get working on them in their own zone to try to wear them down a little bit. They play a very simple game, so it makes it a little easier as long as everybody's on the same page. But the big thing is you can get down, work them low, keep them in their own end for a while. And that is going to take its toll on them here as this game goes on if they can do it.
Fired down the ice right in the glove of Luukkonen. And it's just a great vantage point from up here to see how different teams play the game. And Carolina, again, as soon as they won the draw, two forwards breaking out of the zone. And right now they've got the Sabres hemmed in behind their own net.
It's man-on-man all over the ice, Dan. The 2D are following the forwards up in the neutral zone, and everybody else has got a man standing on them down low. There's nowhere for them to go. They got to get their feet moving.
Foss fires it behind the net, picked up by Luukkonen. Trying to help out a little bit, plays it up the wall far side where Peterka turns it and gives it away. But some good support by Owen Power. He'll skate it to center ice. Driving the Hurricanes back a little bit. Pesce backed off, so that allows a shoot in. Knocked down by Thompson. Trying to spin it inside. Kotkaniemi got in the way of that, and it's cleared by Carolina down on the Buffalo end. Jacob Bryson behind the net. Quick pass up to the blue line. Skinner looking for Thompson, working on Pesce. Thompson still with it. Throws it in behind the net, but first guy there, Svechnikov. He sends that puck down the ice, and there will be just enough for an icing call here against Carolina. Aho's 23rd of the year, Teravainen with the helper, and Svechnikov as well. 1-0 Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina's coming out looking pretty good here. They're a very structured team. We've talked about this every time we play them. Rod Brindamore, he demands it. And they all play the same thing. You know, a lot of teams, you're going to have top two lines play something, bottom two lines may play something else, and they kind of ad-lib. This team, top line to the bottom line, they all play the same game so they can intermatch and interchange guys at any given time because there's no question on where guys are going. It's all the same thing, and it's very difficult sometimes to break through. That's why when you got the puck, you got to keep moving. You got to get your wheels moving a little bit here to try to loosen them up a little bit.
Flip down in the Buffalo end. Svechnikov after it. Little dig in there on Samuelson, who wins it halfway up the wall. Needs support. Gets it from Kyle Pozo. Stick battle. Svechnikov wins that. Kotkaniemi behind the net over skates. Played halfway up the wall, and Girgensons will get it the rest of the way out to center. Krebs putting some pressure on Pesce. He sends it across for Natchez, who gives it back to defenseman. Now Brady Shea looks rink wide. That one gets by everybody. Girgensons trying to sweep that away from Natchez. Svechnikov near circle, fanned on the shot, and it's picked up by Girgensons. He's going to sweep it back towards Samuelson as Carolina changes and Buffalo looks for a way out here. 13:54 to go, first period, 1-0 Carolina. And the Sabres cannot afford to stand around in their own zone as they turn it over again in the neutral zone. And Brent Burns will rifle it right back in.
When you talk about the Sabres, they're being effective when they're playing north-south. And right now they're looking too much going back into the zone and looking for that east-west pass, side-to-side pass coming out of their zone. And when they do that, they get themselves in trouble. They got to start looking up the ice.
Another interception. Far post. Luukkonen gets over to get a piece of that one on Natchez. What a setup to the far post. As Carolina, almost as if they're reading the Sabres playbook, the way they're picking off passes here. Buffalo working it up the right side. Middlestat cannot get it deep in the zone, and right back at it. Led by the defenseman, Jalen Chatfield, who puts it deep in the Buffalo end. Middlestat backing his way around Burns. That's not suggested as the big man steps in and keeps the puck in the Buffalo zone. And it's played up ahead of the right side, deflected by Victor Olofsson in behind the net. And picked up by another veteran in DeHaan, who plays it up the near wall. Flipped into the Buffalo zone. Going to the net as Stepan is behind the net. Nason will chase it to the far corner. Bryson trying to take it away. Shot patted away by Luukkonen again. Here comes one from DeHaan. That one is blocked. Over to the far side with traffic in front. Luukkonen fouled it and holds on. They are coming. The Sabres hanging in there. It's a 1-0 Carolina lead here in the first period. You're listening to the Sabres Hockey Network.
At the UPS store, not every small business needs the same thing, but every small business needs something. We're the scanning and faxing store, the printing store, the packing and shipping store, the
I need my designing place and my printing place to be the same place store.
We're the one-stop, right around the corner, everything you need so you can be unstoppable store. The UPS store. Be unstoppable. The UPS store locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
The EA Sports NHL 23 World Championship is here with more events, more tournaments, and more chances to win than ever before. Test your skills playing EA Sports NHL 23 against the best gamers in the world for the chance to represent your favorite team. Win a trip to NHL events and compete for a share of $150,000. Register now and get all the details at nhl.com/NHL23.
Buffalo Sabres hockey is being brought to you by Firth Jewelers. For all the moments in your life, go forth to Firth. By Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorney. By Equitable Advisors. Thinking about today and planning for tomorrow. By Great Lakes Building Systems. Our business is protecting your business. By Raylax Honda. Raylax, we got this. And by Losi and Ganji. Workers' compensation and personal injury attorneys. Working hard for hard-working Western New Yorkers.
You're listening to the Buffalo Sabres Radio Network.
Aho with the goal. It's 1-0 Carolina leading the Sabres. 12:32 to go here first period. Don't miss the Sabres' next home game. Saturday, February 11th. Sabres host the Calgary Flames, and we celebrate Sabretooth's birthday at 12:30. Kids tickets, family packs available now. Sabres.com/tickets.
How old Sabretooth?
I was going to ask you the same question. You've been around him a lot longer than I have.
Well, it's 50 years, and he's got to be pushing 60.
We should get him on the show sometime.
It's kind of boring to talk to.
Well, I've heard the same directed towards present company.
You?
Exactly. Shea in the corner. And it's Carolina working in front again for Fost, and he fanned on the shot. They get in tight right on the goal again. Stahl far post.
Too much wide open in the middle of the ice. Like from the hash marks down, they're just allowing Carolina to be there, and they're allowing them to make the pass. And Sabres got to be that third man. Can't get too far ahead of the play, and I think he is right now, trying to jump here a little bit. Let the two wingers get up the ice, and that third man down low, he's got to be more supportive with the D.
Sabres got the puck down the ice, but to your reference of man-on-man, there was a Carolina jersey on every Sabre that tried to touch the puck. Carolina gets it back. They flip it deep to get a change in here. That's how efficient they are. But again, the Sabres only down 1-0. They've got some speed to use here. They try it with a pass up on the left wing side, but it's going to go for icing. But I'll tell you what, in my eyes anyway, you might as well try something like that at some point to at least let them know Peterka might be able to bust down that way.
You got to get a guy going across and try a couple of these passes, trying to loosen them up a little bit. But, as you said, a man-on-man game here. Carolina's willing to do that, and they're mature enough and they're experienced enough where they can do that. That's pretty tough sometimes, but in this case right now with Carolina, they're a team that can play this game, and they're willing to play this game. And they've just taken all momentum away from the Sabres because Sabres need momentum coming up through the neutral zone, and they've done a good job of taking that away.
Well, Nate's just wide open in front of the net twice. They couldn't get to the puck. Now there's another man wide open in front, but it's picked up by Luukkonen.
Yeah, Seth Jarvis just stood there. He probably stood there for 5-6 seconds all by himself, and there wasn't any awareness by the D to come and pick him up. They're all kind of watching the puck. Get gravitated to it a little bit. Well, that's the problem. When things aren't going 100%, then you start trying to do it a little too much sometimes, and you get away from your game. And you get away from your game against these guys, you're going to pay a price.
Face off to the left of Luukkonen. Shots 11-3 in favor of Carolina. Chatfield, good stick that time by Quinn, able to knock the shot down. Now on the far side, a race for it. Owen Power gets there first, makes a nice hard cut back towards the corner. Careful about skating in front of his own goal, but he does a great job to shake off the pressure, and there were three of them there. Hurricanes get it back through the neutral zone, and Aho comes right back in over the Buffalo line. Surrounded by four, drops it out of the wing for Jarvis. Back for Teravainen. His pass, cross ice, picked off by Dylan Cousins. And the Sabres come back into the Carolina zone, but no possession as Burns gets back there, sweeps it to the boards. And then it's tipped down the ice, and this will go for icing.
Yeah, one time so far here in this first 9 minutes, 15 seconds, the Sabres have been able to carry the puck into the Carolina zone because they've done such a good job of standing him up, and the Sabres getting checked there a few times. They've only chipped it in a couple times to give themselves a chance to go get it, but they're forcing you. They're standing there. They're forcing you to dump it in, and that offside D is already cheating back into the zone to get back and pick up the puck. Carolina's been able to exit the zone pretty easy here.
Off the draw, chip down into the Buffalo end. Carolina making quick changes here as they're wont to do and certainly will focus on with this being a back-to-back night. They don't waste any time. Just, as Rob said, rolling out the different lines because they play the exact same way. Now behind the net, Skinner trying to dig it free, playing in his 900th NHL game here tonight, so congrats to him on that. But a 2-on-1 potential here for Carolina, but the pass gets by Natchez, and Tage Thompson was busting back to try and negate the odd man rush. Then using his reach, steals it back just inside the Buffalo line. And he'll play it back. Samuelson looking at center, bump back for Rasmus Dahlin, but Carolina come back with a 3-on-1 down low. Here's a pass across, they score. At the near post, Stefan Nason gets his 9th of the year to make it 2-0. They make you pay that quickly.
Well, they do, and the Sabres got log jammed at the blue line again. Tage Thompson messing around with the puck, and then when he dropped it back to Samuelson, he was the only man back there. Then Dahlin misplays the puck. They come back 3-on-1 into the Sabres zone, and Samuelson just overplays it. He takes himself out of the play. He drops to his knees, then he loses control, spins around, and it was an easy pass to the far post for Nason to pop that one in for the second goal of this game. Whatever's happening here right now with the Sabres, they're doing it themselves. It's not anything. It's, A, they're not moving their feet. They're not moving the puck quick enough here. They just got to get dialed in.
Carolina back in the offensive zone again with a shot from Stepan, stopped by Luukkonen. Puck in the far corner, flipped up to Middlestad at center. Chips it off the boards. Victor Olofsson racing hard to get there. Following up Middlestad in the slot, no shot. Turns, fires one to the net, and that is blocked. Canes get it back and throw it up to center ice. It's a 1-on-3 as Nason taken to the corner, finishing his check, but the Sabres have the puck. Rink-wide pass with 9:15 to go in the first, down 2-0. Gaining entry is Casey Middlestad on the left side. Look to feed it for Jost. Puck didn't make it to him, and it's flipped again behind Power. He's got to race after it. Martinook is busting after him. Hits Power, comes up with the puck, does Martinook, plays it in behind the net. Stahl tried to center, a good stick lift there by Zemgus Girgensons, and he'll bring it up the left side. Meets Brent Burns at the blue line. And this is going to be an offside if the Sabres touch it. So that slowed the play a little bit. Martinook will backhand it down the ice.
Yeah, Carolina coming back. They're getting in their zone. There's no hesitation, just throwing the puck down the ice. If it goes for icing, fine. But they just don't want to spend any time in their own zone here and give the Sabres any chance to get some momentum. And this is the best way to stay fresh, too. Hey, if you got nothing, get rid of it.
Sabres trying the line with Kyle Pozo. Stood up. And going to be an offside here if they touch it up. As Zemgus Girgensons went blasting in on the left side. They'll go to the bench now. Hurricanes bring it back up 2-0. 8:13 to go here in the first period. Shot deflects to the corner. This is Peterka against Aho. And Jarvis out there. Puck goes to the far corner. And it's lifted by Samuelson. This is going to go to the length of the ice, or will it? It kind of takes an interesting roll on end, and it settles before the goal line, so we continue on. Canes are happy with that as Jarvis sends it ahead for Natchez down the right side. Played in behind the Sabres goal. Flipped up ahead, looking for Dylan Cousins right side. Can't get to center. Jarvis reaching for it, comes back to the red line. Cousins on it again, lost it. Jarvis for Natchez. He sends it across. Jarvis wants it back, but instead it's in the slot and picked away by Buffalo. Back comes Alex Tuck. He might be the one for the answer with his speed. In over the line and behind the net. Bumps with Chatfield. Sabres can't keep it in. Hurricanes come back. Nice move at center, that time by Svechnikov. Driving into the Buffalo zone. Sends it back up top. Chatfield sends it to the front of the net. Tap in far post. Brent Burns jumps into the play, and it's 3-0 Carolina with 7:13 still remaining in the first period.
Yeah, Brent Burns is going to collect his 10th, and once again, it's going to be a pass that comes across. It's a left-right, right-left pass in all occasions here on these goals, and the Sabres just not having an awareness of it. This time it was just right here. Everybody kind of clogged up. Nobody watching the D coming in. The D coming in is a forward's responsibility. Brent Burns jumps into the play. No forwards got him covered. It's 2-on-2 down low, and Brent Burns gets an easy tap in. That's 3 goals that have been tap-ins at the far post.
So Burns keeps his point streak going, and that's the way it's been going for Carolina this year. Remember, this is a team that knocked off the Boston Bruins and made it look easy not too long ago. Play back in the Buffalo end. Going to come back to Calvin DeHaan here at the near point. Shot is blocked before it got through. And it's lifted by Power up ahead. And Victor Olofsson sends it the rest of the way. Ranta behind the net trying to clear it up the near wall. Maybe the Sabres can take advantage of a goaltender whiff on a pass or something here, but I don't really see Carolina giving them much, so they got to take advantage of whatever opportunities they get. That zone entry doesn't work by Victor Olofsson. Trying to work it with Casey Middlestat on the right side. Back to the Buffalo blue line and now to center. It'll be Middlestat. Played it across. That's a good jump into a lane by Krebs. He takes it behind the net, throws it to the far wing, picked up by Kyle Pozo.
Carolina's coming out of their zone. Sabres D are backing off the